everyone, and welcome to The Insider, the ongoing video series that keeps you up to date on all things IPW. I am the voice of Independence Pro Wrestling, J-Rod. Forged in Fire took place on August 31st in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it began with Canadian standout Dr. Nolans versus highly touted newcomer RJ Sowa. Two great athletes in this one, and while they're both young up-and-comers, Dr. Nolans has already been under the bright lights at the top of the card, and that experience was the only big difference. Anyone who faces Dior has got to have their head on a swivel because his Superman punch can strike at any moment. Dr. Nolans takes this one. Chad Alpha might be the most willing to defend champion in IPW history. So much that IPW has yet to book a title defense for him. They know Alpha will show up and defend anywhere, anytime. He announced the winner of a battle royal would be the next challenger to the crown. A gang of stars marched to the ring looking for an opportunity until Bedrick Bison, accompanied by Big Jorge, came to the ring and told Chad Alpha to just forget about everyone else and give the shot to Bison. Three-Hearted shut that down when Jimmy Sholin reminded Bison that Bison holds a record for holding championships for the longest amount of time ever without defending them. Durag would snatch the microphone from Jimmy, saying that Jimmy has been avoiding him. Jimmy hasn't checked in. Before we could get any context, debuting prospect Alfonso Gonzalez had something to say. He put down the fans and all the athletes around the ring. The music of the monster Brutus Dillon hit the speakers, and the Colonel of Clapping Cheeks sprinted to the ring. Sanders got in the ring, told the referee to ring the bell, and hit the cheek clapper on Brutus, sending him over the top rope and out of the match. Sanders off the top rope onto Brutus Dillon, eliminated himself from the match, and beat up Brutus all the way to the locker room. Chaos ensued, and one by one, the contenders were eliminated from the match until only Alfonso Gonzalez and surging prospect Darius Luttrell remained. In a surprise upset, Gonzalez would eliminate Luttrell to earn himself a shot to bring the IPW Championship back to the dojo later in the evening. In an intergender tag team match, Carter Kaufman and Elijah Eros both wanted rematches. Anderson Knight suggested he and Lil Missy take them on. This thing was one-sided, with Missy and Knight looking ever impressive and cementing their victories from Whiteout. These two are on fire at this point, as they both are on big win streaks. In hardcore action, Hexus 3 fought it out with KC Tempest. The Hexuses, Hexi, whatever, are all known to be sadistic, and a hardcore match was right up 3's alley. But he was taking on the hardcore specialist, and the death sentence from KC Tempest closed the show. Brutus Dillon has been bullying LaDon Sanders, and Sanders has had enough of it. At no point has Sanders allowed himself to be a pushover, and that continued. Sanders almost pulled off the impossible, but the size was just too much, and Brutus Dillon won the match. Dillon is quietly building the case to get another shot at IPW Gold. And while Sanders didn't get the win, we will never doubt his willingness to throw down with anyone on the roster. TJK, a debuting Robbie Reeves, and 6'8" pro basketball player Darius Luttrell mixed it up in triple threat action. Reeves and TJK tried to team up on Luttrell, but even that wasn't enough, as Darius Luttrell made a statement by dropping them both and stacking them up for the pin. Speaking of making statements, Darius Luttrell let his plans be known.
As I stand here on vacation after another great basketball season, it's hard for me to enjoy it because I'm always thinking about the next thing. And there's this company in Michigan that has caught my attention, Independence Pro Wrestling. And there's a man, the new Michiana champion, Joshua Raymond, who's caught my eye. Now Joshua, you claim to be this best athlete, and I'm here to put that to the test. So, this is me putting you on notice. I'll be seeing you soon, just to see if you live up to the hype.
Ask and you shall receive. Darius Luttrell's impressive win at Forged in Fire has convinced IPW matchmakers to grant him a shot at the IPW Michiana Championship against Josh Raymond this Friday at Brawl in the Fall.
People call me a manipulator. I don't see it that way. I see it that way. I set things up and just people fall into place. I chose Terry Van Avery as my referee. And all that did is confuse Blake. He wondered why. Well, Blake, you figured it out. The reason why is because you ended up wrestling him. You ended up facing Terry. You know, I was sick. I was very sick, and I couldn't make it to that event. But you weren't so sure why I chose Terry. Oh, we were in cahoots, and you know what? Maybe we are. I don't know. Maybe Terry doesn't know. Maybe I don't know. But you sure as fuck don't know. So you had to face Terry in order to find out, and it worked out. He gave you his back. He tried to show you trust, and now maybe you're thinking he's on your side. Maybe you think he's not on anybody's side. Maybe he's indecisive. Maybe he's somebody who wants to do the right thing. Maybe not. And then Darius calls me out. Darius, look, man, you're new here. You're not on my level. I'm the Michiana champion. I'm the first ever the triple champ, baby. That's who I am. So Darius, if you want a shot at the champ, come and get some.
Alfonso Gonzalez challenged IPW champion Chad Alpha and had an opportunity to be the first man in IPW history to win the title in his debut singles match. On paper, this was obviously a mismatch. However, no one predicted Gonzalez winning the Battle Royal earlier in the night, and anything can happen in IPW. Gonzalez had Alpha on the brink of defeat a few times, but ultimately the jackhammer put down yet another challenger, and Chad Alpha successfully defended the title. Despite being an arrogant douche, Gonzalez showed a ton of promise and will certainly remain a top contender here in IPW. Due to the unsettled beef between House Bison and Three Hearted, Mondo Real challenged Big Jorge to a 6-man tag team match. Jorge accepted, despite Nasty Nate not being in attendance. Durag offered to be their third man, and the match was made official, despite Max Morrison clearly not having his head in the game. This matchup was a great headliner, and it was back and forth from beginning to end. Morrison nearly had the match won until Jimmy Shalwin inadvertently ran into him. This pissed Morrison off, and it looked like he thought Shalwin did it on purpose. The bout would continue, and at the conclusion, Durag created a diversion so the referee wouldn't see Big Jorge toss that damn white powder substance into the eyes of Mondo Real. But while the referee was distracted, Invictus appeared with a death stare locked on Jorge. Jorge was scared shitless and accidentally tossed the white powder into Bison's face before getting destroyed by Invictus, who immediately fled the ring. A blinded Bison accidentally socked Durag before getting his head kicked off by Mondo Real, and Big Jorge was finished off by Hyper Reality, a hard drop, and a 1-2-3. As Hype and Real were celebrating their victory, Max Morrison just left them. Then at the conclusion of the show, we got another one of those creepy-ass messages about Jeremiah Nazareth and his fucking cult.
This is Jeremiah. He is a leader. This is Max. He is vulnerable. Jeremiah is alone because Max took Jeremiah's family. Jeremiah was sad. But then Jeremiah realized Max took Jeremiah's family so that Jeremiah could start a new one.
Please, Max, from everyone at IPW, please don't even think about going back. That concludes this edition of The Insider. We have a busy weekend coming up. On Friday, IPW presents Brawl in the Fall, a private event that can only be seen on Patreon. Subscribe now, as you won't want to miss Darius Luttrell challenge Josh Raymond for the Michiana Championship. And then on Sunday, the fans pick the matches as IPW presents Dealer's Choice.